Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying!
Yes, guys! Welcome back to the unhinged, the undefeated, and the unbreakable TCP Live, coming at you live at 7:37 every Thursday evening on YouTube and available ad-free on YouTube memberships and Patreon. This is greatness, people.
I think you've got some explaining to do.
Is greatness. I was just uploading. If you're watching now, don't go and watch my main channel video. I just put out. I just cooked on the main on TDK. I shouldn't be promoting my personal channel on here, but I'm going to. And I had something to sort out with that, so I apologize. I was trying to put out good Arsenal content.
I've been here since 7:25.
I was trying to put out good Arsenal content on the internet. Sue me, sue me, guys, sue me.
Free content.
Oh, there's a mistake in my free content. Shut up. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Rohan.
Hiya.
Got a good feeling about this TCP Live. Don't know why. Am I on this mic?
Yes, am I?
You are, darling. You are. Yeah, I've got a good feeling about tonight. I don't know why. Do we like the new? You don't like this? Okay. Chat.
No.
I'm going to play it again.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying!
Firstly, I did not say I don't like it. In fact, I told you my favourite and how I loved it. I just said I think it slaps way more on like Spotify or Apple when you just like when you're just listening to the audio. I think it slaps more. But not gonna lie, it has moved me a bit more just seeing it on YouTube now. And it has moved me more.
Yes, guys. It's good.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. I just thought at the start.
Why are you lying? Why are you
No,
lying?
I did not like. No. I said. I just thought it'd slap way more on the Spotify and the Apple, but it does slap. You've convinced me.
I think it slaps. We have an unbelievable thumbnail check this evening. I have to say. I think this might be a 10 out of 10 thumbnail from Forder. I think it's his. Have we given him a 10 out of 10 before?
No, because you can never be perfect. However,
Mikel Arteta, we can always be better. I think this is. I think that's 10 out of 10. This is unbelievable stuff. It's really good.
Who was actually meant to be in the middle? Oh, was it Jeremy Doku?
It was Doku who was in the middle originally.
Doku,
so you got me. They've definitely photoshopped me. I don't know what they did to me. You as I'm presuming you're Gabriel.
Yes.
That's is that your hairline? That's crazy.
That's for me to know.
And George as Stumpeg.
Do you know what? When you zoom into it, it's actually very, very good. The George one as well. The George one's class when you zoom into it.
How many beers? Yeah, very good. This week on Thursday Field Tilt, it's really good. I'm giving it 10 out of 10.
9.5.
Oh, just grow up. Oh, we can always get better.
That's what keeps the motivation going. That's what gets the juices pumping. That's what gets the juices pumping. Thinking, oh, I've hit 9.5 this week. There's still my ceiling isn't capped yet. You're saying 10 out of 10. You're saying Forder's ceiling's capped. That's what you're implying.
Apparently, United are trying to sign Aiden Heaven as we start the stream. Is that happening?
Aiden Heaven.
Oh, here we go. Exclusive from Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United have made contact to Arsenal for 18-year-old talent Aiden Heaven. Man United are leading the race to sign Heaven, while Eintracht Frankfurt and Barca have made approaches. Arsenal have also offered a new deal. Sounds like it's up to the player. Can I just say, it's if Man United are after a player? Is that a good side or a bad side? I don't know. I'm not saying the talent is terrible, but yeah. Welcome back to TCP Live. Hello, everyone. This evening, firstly, I want to get my slander name and Rohan's slander name sorted. And I also want to come to this. I'm frustrated at this. People tag me in things saying I look like people. And it's always just a white guy with curly hair. I'm done with it.
Okay, who do you want to be compared to then?
I'm furious. Someone sent me one. Can you tell me if this looks like me? Right. And be honest. Because someone
you know
tweeted,
me. I'm honest. I'm honest.
I know you are. So
Maybe
you're honest
too
about
honest sometimes.
maybe too honest. Right. So this someone tweeted me this earlier. Said I wanted to ask before the game resemblance. So this is Sandro Kulinovic of Dinamo Zagreb.
Do you know what? Right.
That is just a white man with curly hair. Don't
No,
do that.
no. It's the eyebrows. Look at the eyebrows. The eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, and also the jawline. I can see it. I can see it. Seriously.
People in the chat saying it's.
You can. If you look at the jawline, and if you look at if you look at the nose, the distance between the nose and the eyes, and then the eyebrows,
That guy has two eyes. See, this is the standard. Simon says Hypno says that guy has two eyes. It's just apparently I dropped a stinker at the Emirates. It's Alex with a jawline. literally.
I'm telling you.
So, over the course of the stream, I want to get Rohan and I's slander.
I've got yours.
Sorted. What?
You know what it is.
Oh yeah, but not that one because it's not. But I want a fun.
Not nice. Oh,
No, it's not.
Nice.
It's not that, is it? It's not that. I want it to be funny. Like lack of threat is funny. We want to talk Zagreb. We want to talk Benjamin Šeško. We want to talk about the Deloitte Money League. We want to talk about the Zinchenko move. We want to talk about the return of Ben White. And then off the back of a little chat about Jorginho, who I think deserves some flowers, as they say in the biz. I want to rank our players by value for money.
So is it just players in general, not signings? Not signings.
Every player in our squad currently.
Mm-hmm.
I want to rank them by value for money in terms of transfer fee and wages. So it can't be our best player necessarily. Well, maybe Saka would be up there in terms of value for money, but in terms of how much you pay them per year, how much you pay them over the course of the contract, etc. And the categories are, we'll come to this later, the categories are crazy bargain, good value, decent value, overpay, and fleeced. Before we do that though, I was on Saturday Social. What did you think of my performance? I want a breakdown. I want
See, I had it on the background, right? I told you I was hoovering.
Right.
I was cooking with my hoovering. I was hoovering. I had it on. But what did I say? I did say something that I was not happy with. Not from what you said, but from what Neve said about the Konate and Gabriel. I think she said, Konate, I think, is a better player than Gabriel, which I think is very unfair to Gabriel, personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't say this on the show, but I think you can't hold these two views at the same time. Yeah. Van Dijk is the best centre-back in the league because he plays with so many different partners, and Virgil van Dijk and Konate is the best partnership.
Yeah,
well, they counteract each other. Either you think that's part of what makes it good or not.
Do you know what it is? But in terms of like partnerships, right? Gabriel Saliba, Konate, and Van Dijk, it's top tier, in the top percentile, outrageous players. And Konate is a fantastic player. Actually, his best qualities also match with some of Gabriel's best qualities. But Gabriel's been doing it for 3 years now.
Yep.
And the past 2 years, he's in that top percentile of centre-backs in the world. And, I disagree with the notion that Gabriel is not getting the credit that he deserves, because I think mainstream, he is more out there. I think he was in the PFA Team of the Year last season. And also top centre-backs, the likes of Rudiger, have been asked questions of, who do you think's the best centre-backs at this moment of time? And he's mentioned Saliba. He's mentioned Gabriel a lot as well. So Gabriel's getting his flowers. But I do think with what Liverpool are doing this season, Konate, who's had a fantastic season, I think there's a bit of recency bias there, and yeah.
Oh, someone's saying your mic's too loud.
Oh,
chat.
Sorry.
Let us know if Rohan's mic's don't turn it down just yet. If his mic's a bit loud, let us know. We can turn it down. But yeah, I just think in terms of a partnership, it has to be have established itself for, I'd say, over 2 years, and Saliba and Gabriel has.
Yeah.
Was that 3 years now that they've had it? I think it needs to be consistent. I think it needs to be top level. I think it needs to, people saying fine. Yeah, I just think it requires a lot more than just the quality of the two players that are coming together. Otherwise, you could say the partnership of, I don't know, Saka and Timber. It's like, well,
yeah. Do you know what it is with Konate?
It's have some time together.
Do you know what it was Konate is like? There's a lot of praise given to him because obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold, for me, is the most talented right back I've seen in Premier League history in terms of a talent point of view. But obviously, defensively, there are deficiencies there, and he's had to cover the channels really well to compensate for his weaknesses there. But at the same time, Gabriel has been playing with Zinchenko predominantly in that 22-23 season, and also he's had a lack of stability at that left back position as well, and he's had to cover the channel. So it kind of like it's really interesting because I can see the comparison between the two because actually their roles and the responsibilities and what they're offering to the team are quite similar there. But Gabriel's been doing it for such a long time now. And I think, he's so good.
I watched a video on England YouTube channel earlier of Trent and Jude Bellingham. And they just, how we just have just unbelievable chemistry. Do you know what I mean? It's just best friends. Just
natural chat. They
honestly just like, they are exactly the same energy. Yeah. And I was like, I know that you shouldn't make a decision on because obviously Jude could leave or whatever. But in those conversations, like, okay, put it this way. If my best mate, someone who I'd got on so well with, was one of the best players at another club, it would be a huge factor. Don't underplay that. Like, I really don't think people should. It shouldn't be underplayed, that relationship. They are like best mates. It's mad. Just good Cam. Great Cam.
And also that has a massive part on the pitch.
Oh, go on.
Has a massive part on the pitch as well, though, isn't it? Like, personal relationships.
Say your favourite.
Yes, you knew it. Oh, see,
make yourself sound clever.
See, we've been doing podcasts for so long. You knew exactly where I was going for. But I'm not going to go there because I'm not going to go there.
First person in the chat who knows what Raheem was going to say. Yeah. Go on.
Go on.
What do they get? They get a prize. They get something. Alex Slander Penny or Alexander Fumble Many. Okay, Fumble Many is closer because that's at least using my name. I don't. I think it might be Nick Shoesmith. I'm going to guess Nick Shoesmith. It's not Miguel Molina, Joel Shaw.
No, it's not
Miguel Molina.
Think of it. I'm talking about partnership. I'm talking about relationships off the pitch and that friendship and how that impacts things on the pitch. It's 2 words. Begins with a C. Second word. Begins with an S.
Do you know what? You haven't actually said it that much recently.
Cooperative superiority.
No one in the chat got it. Oh. No one in the chat. You haven't said it enough. Maybe
empathy's George's thing.
Do you know what it might be? I might have mocked you so much about it that, that you stopped using it.
No. I had to mix it up a bit, I had to mix it up.
People have forgotten about it. Dynamo is like, let's come to some super chats.
Yes.
Okay. So you're hosting now, are you?
See that.
Fine. AFC ambitions is questionable. We only have 9 days, says Matthew. Thank you for super chat very much. And George as well. Just a cheeky contribution to the channel. Very kind. Yeah. Thank you, George. And thank you, Matthew. We will come to a conversation 100% about Šeško, about the Deloitte Money League, about the title of this video is Dear Stan, Do Something.
Do something adequate, not just something.
just anything. Just go for a walk. That'll be enough for me. It just comes out from David Ornstein. Stan Kroenke went for a walk today. Oh, that's fine then. That's fine. I'm sorry. It happened again yesterday with the Šeško stuff, with the whole Leipzig don't want to sell. Oh, really? Oh, Leipzig. They don't want to sell. They don't want to sell. Oh, no. They're on a top 4 race. Are they? Okay. They're on a top 4 race. I won't bother them. I'm just little nicey nice Arsenal. I'm little nicey nice Arsenal. I want to respect relationships with you. Wee. Zagreb.
Yes.
Thoughts. Give us your thoughts, my beautiful man.
Very professional performance. No stress. Chilled out. Good vibes. Very good vibes. I don't think we learned anything new in terms of tactically and structurally. We're seeing the same sorts of sequences. But what I did want to go into, and it's kind of moving the conversation towards Jorginho as well. And firstly, I think Jorginho, in terms of value for money, he's been such a good signing. Like I said yesterday, stylistically, he may not be your cup of tea. And out of possession, I still maintain when the distances become very big, Jorginho's influence on the game becomes null and void. We saw that against Brighton as well at times in the 1-1 draw. But what he does is he masks those deficiencies really well. And I also think Arteta utilizes him really well to mask those deficiencies as well. Like, if you imagine whether it's Thomas Partey playing as the number 6 dominantly or Declan Rice playing as the number 6, a lot of the times they will step outside of the block and they will split the two centre-backs at central centre-back to try and get on the ball, to get away from the opposition's striker and number 10 who are pressing in that 4-4-2, to get on the ball and to provoke jumps. But we don't necessarily do that with Jorginho. And the reason why is if we do lose the ball and Jorginho has split our two centre-backs, he's in a really vulnerable position and our two centre-backs aren't in optimal positions as well. Whereas someone like Declan Rice, if we do lose the ball, you've still got a massive presence there who is absolutely fantastic out of possession. But the thing I really wanted to focus on Jorginho is the ball over the top. The ball over the top is something that this team doesn't do enough through the right-hand side. And football in the Premier League and also in Europe, more and more teams are moving more towards the idea of looking to squeeze the centre of the pitch as much as possible. Teams don't want to play a low block to begin with. They'll have to play a low block if they're forced to, but their intent is to try and squeeze in the middle of the park. And what that means is that there is space in behind to play that ball over the top. If you remember the Ben White ball for Saka against Liverpool, things like that. And people argue that, that's because it happened, it's against Liverpool. They afford that space. Please watch the Premier League this weekend, right? Pretty much every single team affords that space. There's tactical homogeneity, I think it is. Have I said that right?
Homogeneity, I believe is the word, but I could be wrong. It's happened before, it'll happen again.
Likewise for me. but teams are looking to have that same sort of approach. And that means that ball at the top is on, if you're able to kind of provoke even bigger jumps. And Jorginho does it really well. And actually Gabriel as well. Gabriel's trademark pass is becoming that ball over the top for our left winger to meet. How many times has he done it with Trossard? And Trossard seems to time those runs really well as well. I think Jorginho had a fantastic game, and there were some other really good performances as well that we can get into. But yeah.
Yep. Stan Kroenke's been for a walk as well. I think you're right. It's something we don't make use of. It's something that when I made my first video about Jorginho on the different knock, I actually mentioned his balls over the top and said it could be a good, useful tactical weapon for us.
Did you?
Yes, I know ball.
Do you know what? Jorginho is one of my biggest L's in the Arteta tenure. I was so against the signing, so against it. So massive L for me.
We did one. What did we think? We spoke about our worst ever take once. I think we need to go back through, or maybe the audience can go back through. Stan Kroenke says saw Rohan at St Pancras.
Oh my god! Okay, he's probably. I was at St Pancras on Saturday. I'm not. Oh.
Were you?
Yeah.
And Stan saw you, and he said you're 5'6". That's crazy. That's crazy. We should go back through and maybe the audience can find I'll properly do our worst ever takes because I'm sure there's some honkers.
Yeah, I got some.
But yeah, no, Georgia. I think you're right about his usage and stuff, and I just think he's brilliant. We'll come more to him sort of later and about the sort of value for money, etc. Firstly, I want to talk about two things. Firstly, Ethan Nwaneri, we spoke about a little bit, but maybe I watched his cameo back last night after the instant reaction. He was so fresh. He was running at teams. The way he got the ball back off the byline in that moment was, just shows the energy and the hunger to come back after an injury. What I found interesting was in both Rice and Ødegaard's post-match, they said Arteta has been, they didn't say on at them, but they both said he's been really stressing those runs on midfield. It's really interesting that they both mentioned it in their post-match. Because we have lacked it. We have lacked goals from midfield, and it's nice to see, two examples. The only thing that took the shine off it last night for me was finding out this morning that they hadn't played in 4 weeks.
Hey, this is Zagreb.
I heard, I could be wrong, that they hadn't
weeks.
played in 4 weeks. So that slightly took the shine off things. But yeah, the runs from midfield were there, which is really, really nice. I think I said last night in the instant reaction, Mikel did this interview with Patrick Davison. He talks about the key message, and clearly it was about pushing their line back to create that space in front of them. But look, we're lacking goals from midfield. I think we discussed in this podcast before about Marino. Rice can make that run. He also said in his post-match about that same chance, basically, from that ball in. I think it was Nwaneri last time, and it was Ødegaard against United. He should be burying both of those. We're lacking probably 4 or 5 goals from that pod from Marino and Rice, I'd say, over the course of the season. I'd say we're lacking about 4 or 5 goals from Ødegaard that we would maybe normally get. What was his last open play goal? May or something
I
before
think it
last
was
night.
Wolves. I think it was against Wolves. Well,
Yeah.
before yesterday, I think it was Wolves, which was back in April.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
in terms of leaving goals out there, goals from midfield is a massive aspect of things and 100% something we could be focusing on because that's 10 goals a season or whatever it might be. Yeah, was pleased. Look, I don't think Zagreb are a particularly strong side. I don't think we need to go celebrating, but it was a professional performance,
You know
and
what?
I think
Yeah.
I was just pleased.
No, I think the runs in midfield is really interesting, and I think the half space cross after coming inside in swinger is becoming our trademark move, one of our trademark moves, and it's kind of like people argue that Arsenal need more variety in their attack. They need more variety in terms of the sequences and how we can kind of attack the box. And I do agree with that notion. But the best teams have predictable ways of creating chances as well. We've seen Manchester City over the years with the Kevin De Bruyne spamming balls from the half space. We've seen Trent do it as well, spamming balls. And it's like, you know what's coming, but it's so difficult to deal with. And this is such a difficult action to deal with because I've mentioned it many times. Like you always have an overload at the far post because the fullback, the far side fullback, is sandwiched between two guys. He has to stay tight enough to the guy who he can see, who's peeling away from the centre back's blind side, but then he's got to recover for the guy who's coming in behind him. And we saw a couple of really good deliveries there yesterday. I think Martinelli, for me, who had such a good performance. He is such an underrated crosser. I've said this many times when he comes inside the half space. The one thing with Martinelli that he doesn't have, and maybe that's down to how we don't get him inside enough, is that cut inside and shot towards the far post. He barely scores any goals like that, and that's kind of like a winger's best type of finish.
Should be his bread and butter, yeah.
It should be a bread and butter, like it's Saka's bread and butter. But I think with Declan Rice, he's been so good since Chelsea away. My big criticism of Declan Rice, though, I would say this season is that he's left far too many goals on the pitch. And he's also mentioned it in that post-match interview. Like he was fuming with how he didn't score from that Wanyeri cross. But do you remember against Newcastle at St. James's Park, where we were absolutely awful, Saka puts it on a plate for him. Do you remember against Manchester United? Ødegaard puts it on a plate for him as well. So this specific action and mechanism is working. We just need to convert and be more clinical. And I think that's what they were alluding to. So, yeah.
Yep. Super chat from Alex. Great name.
Good name.
Do we need to seriously consider if Raheem Sterling is actually a ghost, just like Bruce Willis's character in Sixth Sense? I haven't seen that film, so I don't know that reference, but I'm sure it's a very good reference. Well done. Raz.
Yeah.
Raz Sterling. Okay, because what we normally do in these conversations, we just go, I can't bother to talk about him. What is his problem? Like, what do we see? I see it as the timing in his dribble means he just runs into people half the time. He's weak and he can't ride contact. He comes too narrow, so he doesn't give us the width that Saka would provide on the right. He's not got the ability to consistently beat his man. I don't think he's physically at our level out of possession. I don't think he's good enough in terms of the dueling. He's not finding himself in good enough attacking positions. Like I don't know what
I've felt with Raheem Sterling when he came. I would like to see him more on the left wing. I have a feeling that he'll be able to create much better separation if he's through the left-hand side. I think for the right-hand side, it becomes very predictable. I mean, Raheem Sterling on his day, right, was physically fantastic. So when he was able to gain that extra yard, he'd also be able to shield it and still manage to have that distance with the fullback. Whereas right now, how many times have you seen it where he's playing the right wing, where he stands his man up, he fixes him, then he takes on the outside, but then he shows too much of the ball to the fullback. The fullback just gets across and he shepherds it away for a goal kick. I feel the left-hand side, Raheem Sterling, will be better. I'm not saying he's going to be scintillating because we've not seen that. But I think on the right-hand side, he's so predictable. And I said it in previous pods, like I'd like to see him get more minutes through the left. And I actually do think some of his best performances, there's not many, but some of his best moments are through the left. I remember his Leicester cameo when he came on and he was cooking. I remember his performance against, obviously it's Bolton, but he looked good against Bolton as well. So, you know, but the thing is that his predominant minutes have came through the right hand side. So it's like that's what I'm holding on to, you know. So what I will say though, against Spurs, he did have a really good
This
game.
is why we get the reputation that we do, Rohan.
Why?
Oh, he was good against Bolton.
I know, but that's all I have.
Oh, he was good against Bolton.
We're trying to extract some goods, right? We're trying to extract some goods, right? I'm extracting.
He
those
was good
goods
against Bolton.
Oh, I'm not gonna clip. I'm gonna get clipped for this.
Oh
no. Oh, all right. I'm not. I can't. Just give him some minutes on the left hand side, please.
I do agree. And
Yeah.
to be fair to him, so George and I did a scouted earlier in the week. We did one on Barcola. And one of the things he does is gets really tight to his man and then knocks it past them and almost does that sort of thing where you like put your arms up and you're like literally right next to them. There's we look at it in the clubs if you want to go look at it if you're a member or a Patreon. But there's obviously different ways of beating your man. You can knock and run, you can step over, you can stop and start them, whatever. But he gets really tight to them and sort of knocks it past them. And I think Sterling could do that on the left. I think he's got a bit of that. I think he can change direction quickly to his right. But yeah, on the right, he's so predictable. God, people saying Rohan would look good against Bolton.
I certainly wouldn't.
Tez, unpopular opinion. Scott McTominay would absolutely cook as the left 8 in our system.
Do you know what? It's not a bad take, to be fair.
Faisal from Latte Film absolutely loves McTominay.
I mean,
I think as a box crashing number 8, yeah, he would do pretty well. But in terms of the physical aspect of the game, I think he'd be fine. It's just he would if you think Marino is a bit what's the word? Brutalist.
I mean, what I mean, like he'd cook in terms of being a target for that cross and arriving in the box.
Mm-hmm.
But other aspects, no.
Yeah.
But I hear that side of it. I do hear that side of it.
Yeah, in terms of like what we're asking Marino and Rice to do in that space, I hear that. Yeah, not loads more to talk about. I mean, obviously the Samba music worked. It was nice to see how we were using the central areas yesterday. I will say, as I said on the instant reaction, I think it's what we do in the Champions League against those sorts of opposition. And we can use the central areas, and we choose to use the wide areas and other positions. But yeah, not loads more to.
You know, it is though. I think our Champions League form is mightily impressive. You know,
great,
we've been fantastic. You know, and against Inter. Bear in mind, we should have had a penalty in that game, and their penalty. It's the Champions League rules. Like the handball is a handball by the letter of the law in the Champions League, but it's just so silly. And the Atalanta game, I thought we competed well, and we've had to play PSG. We've played obviously Monaco, Sporting. We had some difficult games, and to only concede 2 goals, one that was a penalty, we've been cooking. You know, we've been cooking in the Champions League, and it's good to see because I do think that. To see better performances from Arsenal in general in the cups, and I've had that in the Champions League. Not necessarily had that in obviously the Carabao Cup, or the FA Cup, but you know it's.
I think we've done really well, honestly. Like I think, and it will go slightly, so what? But I really think, and we expect it, but I really do. I think we've done really well in the Champions League. I think it's worth talking about. Moving forward to this. The 2025 Deloitte Football Money League came out today, and Arsenal rose to 7th above Liverpool. At least we're above them in one league. How Man United still 4th is a testament to them. Fair play to them. But yeah, we rose up. I think in terms of our numbers, let me just find them for a second. Deloitte Money, Arsenal. So in terms of our commercial revenues, Arsenal moved up to 7th place in the Deloitte Football Money League report with revenues of €716.5 million versus €532.6 million in 22-23. Sporting, so yeah, this is sort of for 2025, but it's looking at 2024. Our total went up by 35%, which is good, very good. Well done, Arsenal. Spend the money now.
Yeah.
Let's talk. I mean, in the glow of this, no, because knowing that, I think George has said this before as well. Like we knew this. We knew our financial reports were going to come out and all be fine. There's still more to come, obviously for 24, 25, etc. But we knew we're heading in the right direction this way because all the signs are heading that way. Let's predict. What do you think is going to happen this window? And what do you think is happening in the transfer market right now?
Well, I said a couple of pods ago, I didn't think we'd sign anyone.
You don't think we're signing anyone?
No, I don't. I don't think we'll sign anyone. Remember, I said it. I said it when the window opened. I have a feeling we're not going to sign anyone. That is the feeling I have. 23rd of January, I've not seen any concrete links. We've seen some things, some little things.
Okay.
Not seen anything concrete.
I think what is happening,
It's
almost certainly, Jesus, almost certainly, is that we are. I mean, well, I know for a fact actually that we are trying. Now let me cook. We are trying. So we are looking at deals. We're looking at various players, and we're monitoring FC. And a lot of it is about the payment structures and the wages and all that sort of stuff. It's the kind of the details. So the ability to spend is not an issue. The desire to spend is not an issue. It's now down to, okay, does that desire translate to we'll do anything, or does it translate to we'll do enough? I think if we end up with a better deal, I'm okay to wait a few match days. Like, I think, you know, I'm willing to, like, you know, if they're looking at it and going, look, we think we can save a certain amount of money by skipping a couple of games. Okay, like, I don't love it, but I get it from their perspective. But if we don't do anything and we've spent the entire time just looking at payment structures, because that would be more frustrating. If we weren't ever going to do anything, then I don't want to hear about the fact we're looking at players. We're just not doing anything in January because we're not going to. Okay, fine. Then I can kind of deal with that and we have a different conversation. If we've looked at everything, we've been put off by, like, you know, a £10 million here, or because that's what it will be. We're looking at, we don't want to pay 50 million up front. We want to pay 40 million up front. Just pay the money if you want to do it, which you've proved you want to. Just pay the money. I could actually, honestly, I could deal with it more if they were like, we're not making any signs. Do you know what I mean? I could actually deal with it more if we don't sign anyone, if they hadn't been looking at anything. Yeah, but if they're looking at stuff and they're like this close, that will actually annoy me more, honestly.
It's infuriating me. Like, I had the view, the perspective in the summer of, I understood why Arsenal, I don't like it, but I understood why Arsenal were positive in terms of their net spend, because we spent a lot of money since the Cronkies have gained full ownership, and also in particular to rebuild the squad. COVID impacted Arsenal massively, more than other teams. We've also had players previously who, from a quality point of view, they do have value, but in terms of contracts, we weren't proactive with them. So we've had to spend a lot of money, right? So I understood in the summer that we needed to recruit more from the squad within, and we did. We had a fantastic window in terms of selling. One of the best windows I've ever seen Arsenal have in terms of selling, you know. But we are at a point where, yes, the league is unlikely. Yes, we are three quarters out of the Carabao Cup, in my opinion. Yes, the Champions League, despite how good we have done, we still lack significant amount of experience to get over the line there. So the season is looking very likely that we don't win anything. But I don't like the idea of just throwing the season away midway through. You need to show some ambition. And this team is on its knees. I've seen Kai Havertz play 120 minutes against Manchester United. 3 days before that, he played 90 minutes against Newcastle. 3 days after the Manchester United game, he played 90 minutes against Spurs. 3 days after that, he played 90 minutes against Aston Villa. And only yesterday, he got 20 minutes of rest. So someone like Kai Havertz, for example, who's been under the mill, he's had a lot of criticism of late, especially in those cup games against Newcastle, Man United, which he missed gilt-edge opportunities, and is the driver as to why Arsenal are looking likely to going out in both those cups, obviously. But I also have a bit of sympathy for some of these players, because there's too many games. Like last season in January, we had 3 games. This season, we're on course to playing 9 games in January. There's going to be this argument of, oh, well, players are coming back, as you can see. But
Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat, cooking. Yeah. Trying FC, wooing FC, Arteta likes FC, willing to do it FC, payment structure FC. Arsenal,
do you know what it is? Like,
FC, transfer tilt FC, keeping an eye on players FC, in talks FC.
The Cronkies have done fantastic, I'd say, since gaining full ownership. But I think if we don't do anything substantial in this window, that's a red that's a red mark for me. Like
record annual income FC.
I'm telling you, it's going to hit people on the 31st of January when it's looking likely we're not doing anything. We're keeping up.
Do you know what it is though? It's the 3rd of February is the deadline. By the way,
is it? Great, more days to hope.
Played good against Bolton FC. Yeah, I mean
the Bolton thing. I'm not going to have this. I know it's going to. I'm not having this. We met there to extract some goods. There was some goods.
Prioritizing the summer move FC, new merch FC, put off my wages FC, in talks FC. I mean, we are. I mean, look, we all praise. Being serious, we all praise like the seriousness of the club and how they're run, but it will. I also think even sometimes send a message FC. Like be that like it's okay sometimes to buy a player. Like in Liverpool, like they got into like title races and they bought Van Dijk in mid-season. They could have waited but they went, no, we want this player. We're gonna overpay at the time. Overpay. Don't lie to me. Everyone at the time knew that was too much. Obviously, he's proved better, but everyone at the time was going, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money for him. And it worked out. And like I just think sometimes actually sending a message out to football and also to the players, because the interview with Martin Odegaard, he was talking and they were like, do you want new players? And obviously he gives the standard PR answer, which is we're focused on the players that we have here, but they must want it as well. Do you know what I mean? The players must want it as well. Do you know what I
mean? They're on social media. They see everything as well. Like
they're watching this. Drop a comment. Wokals Football says, love the content. You think Nwaneri starts versus City? I'd start him against City, 100%.
Yep, I would. Yep,
100%. Yeah. I mean, when do we play City on the 2nd? I mean, theoretically, Saliba should be back, right? Yeah. Saliba should be back. Nwaneri should be back. Saka's probably not close. Ben White might be back for that game, which would be really useful. That's a big thing we'll come to in a little bit.
Be good for Ethan to get minutes against Wolves. I'd start him against Wolves, and then we've got Girona midweek. We can then rotate a few of the players with the limited number of players we have in our squad, and then I would start him against Man City for sure. Yeah.
George says, could you have Wokals in as a guest? Sure. Wokals. I think you've spoken before. I think you might have emailed me. Yeah, sure. Why not? Brownistani, Wissa as a stopgap, not in Forest made a bid. I like Wissa. I think I was watching him when we were doing the scouted for Mbuemo. Sometimes other players just catch your eye while they're, obviously he plays with Wissa a lot, and he makes a lot of really intelligent runs. He's kind of Martinelli-esque, but with a bit more bounce and maybe a little less, I don't know, reliability maybe. But yeah, I think I really like Wissa. I don't know if a stopgap is necessarily right, but I do think there is something, and I've heard as well that we are working on like some smaller deals or whatever. Well, yeah, but I think the club accept numbers wise. That's the one thing as well. The club have said numbers wise they're short, so they must be. Even if they go and sign it, I mean, no one would be happy. But if we went and signed a £30 million 18-year-old prospect, at least it's something. You know what I mean? At least we're going, okay, we're building here. We're doing something. We recognize at least in a numbers issue, even if it's not a quality issue. You don't need to respect clubs if you own them. Multi-club model needed. Yeah, we kind of spoke about this before. Thank you, Joel, for the super chat. Yeah, because Mikel actually said this in a press conference recently. He said, like, if they want my opinion, I think it's a good idea. So I imagine the Cronkies will look at it at some point, because I can't see another Fabrizio update saying, "Oh, Chelsea have agreed a deal for a brilliant player for £2 million with Strasbourg," and I'm like, "Oh right, have they?" Brilliant.
yeah.
Well done. Yeah, I think we'll explore this at some point.
Definitely. I need to read a bit more about this, actually. I've kind of just pushed it to the side. But did Arteta speak about it recently then?
Yeah, he spoke about it. I can find it, yeah. Arteta multi-club model. He was asked about it. Yeah, here we go. Because also there's like new rules with Brexit and stuff.
Yeah.
He said, well, that's something that a lot of clubs have at the moment. So that restriction in the country has provoked that many other clubs have now sister clubs or multi-club systems to be able to do that. So looking ahead in the future, it's something basically to explore, because obviously with the actual system, it's very, very difficult. So yeah, it's to do with all the Brexit rules and stuff. Every club is very different in the way they're set up, and the clubs they have picked are various. But in our way, it's obviously a decision from our ownership and the board to understand what is the best thing for the club in the future. My involvement is in the team and the squad. If the club want my opinion, then I'm more than happy to give that, but my focus is on the team. So I imagine we'll probably look at it at some point.
Yeah.
KSE Group FC. Monitoring Real Sociedad.
That's also seducing FC.
Andre says, just buy Real Sociedad. We may as well at this point. We may as well. Moving forward, news came out today from various reliable reports that Zinchenko is close. From Sam Dean in Telegraph said Zinchenko is close to leaving the club. Thoughts? I'm slightly concerned, not because I don't think that's the right thing to happen. I think he probably can move on and we can get through to the end of the season with our 57 left backs. But if Tomiyasu isn't fit, if Calafiori has the issues that he's continuing to have, Kieran Tierney is a good option to do something different, but I don't necessarily want to start him. You're left with Miles, and if it's a case of we could sell him in the summer, like I don't know, that's my only.
I think it makes personally. I hear that, but I do think from now to the end of the season, I think Tierney, if given the opportunity, he can have an impact. You know, I know he's not perfect. I know right now it's not the same Tierney that we've seen, but every time Tierney's came on, he's put in at least one really good action in the final third in terms of his crossing. You know,
Kivior as well. To be fair,
you got Kivior as well. So I think with Zinchenko, it's a case of diminishing returns after this window. So trying to move him on now with 18 months left on his deal, I think it makes sense. And Zinchenko in general, I think I tweeted something where, you know how, and we'll get into it, you know how when we look at a signing, we kind of view them either as a hit or a miss. I think sometimes analysis on players is, well, it lacks objectivity sometimes when you're viewing that signing with respect to the current team. Whereas you should be looking at that signing from the moment where the team was when they were signed, and then his impact, and then the consistency in the sample size for sure. You know, and I think with Zinchenko, everybody who had watched Zinchenko before he signed for Arsenal would knew exactly what you're going to get from him. He's a player with big upside on the ball, and if you want to make that structural change of going more from a 2-3, in which your fullbacks are a little bit more narrow, but not into midfield, 2 or 3. Zinchenko is the guy who can do that and can be the start of your evolution. And he gave us a really good season in the 22-23 campaign. Yes, there were mistakes. Yes, there were. All of his mistakes, his big mistakes, have came from the weaknesses that we knew Zinchenko had. So it's kind of like, you know what you're getting there. And last season, he had a number of decent performances as well. So when I look at Zinchenko, I look at the £30 million signing and also his wages. He's been a good signing. He's been a good signing, you know.
Teams evolve. Actually, maybe I don't need to worry about numbers because even Timber can play there. Because if I think about the options there, Tierney, Miles, Kivior, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, 5 options to go there.
Exactly.
Realistically,
it's time, and I'd like us to build on from the really good work that we did in the summer in terms of outgoings. We were proactive and we got good money from a number of our players. You know,
but I think just to come on to your point as well, like I do think it's a good point. And when he signed, it's a good signing, and teams evolve. It's like saying Tierney's a bad signing. Well, the team just evolved away from him. Like, what
you know
do?
This as well, Alex? It's kind of like, but Jesus and Zinchenko are very interesting. We'll get into the value for money thing, right? Zinchenko, it's not just about where the team was. You also still have to deliver a significant sample size of consistency. Just like any signing, you know, very simple. It's like Jesus. Jesus was key to our evolution in terms of transforming us in that 22-23 season. But Jesus doesn't have the sample size of consistency with him. And then you consider the price, 50 million. Then it's kind of like, well, was that really value for money? So it's a different conversation.
Has a player gone down? Okay. I'd play Miles over Zinchenko. I'd play Calafiori over Zinchenko. I'd play Timber over Zinchenko. If Tomiyasu was fit and firing, I'd play Tommy over Zinchenko. That's a big if. I would.
Depends on the game for me.
Kivior, it depends on at home against Dinamo Zagreb, is it? But let's say he's the 5th choice, right? End of 23, Zinchenko was the first choice. Like, no one can argue that Zinchenko was.
Yeah.
I think he was probably I think middle of 20. No, because then Miles as well. Basically what I'm trying to say, has a player gone down the rungs to like 5th choice from first choice ever that quickly for Arsenal? I can't remember it. I can't remember a player going from first to 5th choice in the space of 18 months.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I think maybe Arsenal. Well, they didn't expect Zinchenko to fall that low in the pecking order from the moment we signed him.
Who's winking at you, mate?
I don't know.
Moving on. Yeah. So people saying Pepe, but even Pepe was our second choice right winger.
He didn't move that low down.
No. Sonogo was never first choice, was he?
But yeah, Sonogo against Borussia Dortmund. Those who know he was cooking. Absolutely cooking.
He was cooking something.
Yeah. And against Bayern Munich, first leg, first 20 minutes before we got that penalty Ozil missed. Go and watch back Sonogo's performance against Boateng, and I think it was Hummels. He was cooking. Sold me a dream. He was a bomb, though, wasn't he?
So, some people are making a point, to be fair. And also, the thing with Zinchenko as well is if they're doing this one in, one out thing, that might be another thing, because we haven't actually sold anyone this window. So if they are genuinely doing a one in, one out, then maybe we need to do that. Yeah. I don't actually know the deal that's being touted. It's a loan. What is it?
Well, I'm hoping it's a permanent. I don't think you'd get more than 15 to 20 million. 15, 20 million, I think, would be very good.
Zinchenko. So Sam Dean says, hang on, let me just completely legally read this article. I can't. Very good. Yeah, I don't know if someone could tell us in the chat what that deal is, but yeah. Other news that came out today from who was it? Just so I can give people credit, because it's important to give credit where credit is due for the very good information that we have. Sammy Mockball. Ben White has returned to training on grass and is close to a full return. That is massive. Yeah. Timber has put in an absolute shift. Saliba's put in an absolute shift on that side. They both deserve a rest. And I think a little pod of 3 of White, Timber, Saliba is brilliant on that right-hand side. Obviously, Tomiyasu. I mean, Tomiyasu is a whole different kettle of fish. But just to give them some rotation, some minutes, some time, like even taking Saliba off in games like Dinamo Zagreb just for the last 20 minutes, I think is useful. As much as I do think he's quite robust, I think sometimes players just need a little bit of time off. So he's going to give us. I don't think he comes straight back in the team. I think long term there's a conversation when they're both fit, and we'll just see how the team goes. It's going to be interesting to watch, by the way, that little slot and that battle between Timber and White, whether Timber goes left back or whatever. But yes, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, and I think the tactical flexibility to have that overlapping runner. I said this in a recent video as well. Like, what one of my issues with Mikel is he never wants to put anyone in uncomfortable positions. We've completely, without Ben White, we just don't have anyone making that run in the same way. I don't think that's good at all. It's like, okay, so you need that tactical key, and then one player falls over, and it's like, okay, we just don't have it. What? So yeah, I've really missed White, and glad he's back.
I mean, we'll go to the Aston Villa game, right? And I'll stand by the argument of Thomas Partey needed to play right back in that game, because there was not a chance Kivia would have survived doing what Timber was doing at centre back in that game against Ollie Watkins and also against Jacob Ramsey. We spoke about it in the pod, how much Timber was tasked to do in the absence of Saliba, which is what Saliba would do anyway. And if we had a Ben White in that game, well, we could have just played Ben White at centre back and we could have kept him at right back, or vice versa. These are the things that he gives you, that flexibility. And people forget Ben White in the 21-22 season, when he was partnering Gabriel, fantastic partnership. Consistency up until, I'd say, March, April, before the Crystal Palace game, which we lost 3-0, and he suffered that injury, and he was playing through injury. But then you're looking at a player who moved to right back in a role that is very demanding. We all know that. And it kind of, maybe there is a discussion about the injuries that we do sustain in fullback areas and the workload given to our players in that position. And Ben White, in terms of performances, strictly performances, 22-23 season, 23-24 season, best right back in the league, consistency-wise. Hands down for me. Talent-wise, you're obviously looking at your Trents, etc. But Ben White gave us so much there. And it's that overlap, as you allude to, that power on the outside. And I think with someone like Ethan Nwaneri, I think Ben White would complement him better than a Timber. But the good thing about... Well, you smile.
I'm laughing at just all the people in the chat still doing this.
But I think the good thing about Timber and White is that their best qualities are completely different. And that's where the tactical flexibility comes. I've mentioned it many times with Timber, in that his passing and his and how progressive he becomes increases the higher he goes up the pitch. Whereas Ben White, I personally don't think Ben White is the best in build-up against high-pressing teams. I think sometimes his passing is a bit wayward there. But when Ben White is facing a block, and as we mentioned before, squeezing the centre of the pitch, Ben White plays that ball so well.
He plays that ball so well.
He
plays that ball so well.
Against Wolves last season, who we were playing on the weekend, that was one of Ben. If you go and watch back, if there's a comp on Ben White from that game, you'll see the amount of times he clips the ball over the top. Every time the trigger, when Odegaard drops, it drags one of the midfielders closer, it isolates the fullback, and Saka's on his bike, and Ben White hits it time and time again. Timber doesn't give us that. But what Timber gives us is, I've got a bit of a bold claim here, right? A bit of a big shout. I think Jurrien Timber, from my time watching Arsenal, yes, I've watched the Invincibles, I've watched back the tapes, he is Arsenal's best 1v1 fullback since Ashley Cole, defensively. Sanya is the other one you could argue.
About to say Sanya, yeah.
But I think Timber. We're talking about Bradley Barcola, yeah? Bradley Barcola, right? Fantastic. Timber locked him down. Locked him down. Emirates.
No,
so many games.
He's certainly. It's not a crazy shout. He's certainly. I'll have to think about it, but yeah, it's not a crazy shout. Also, the thing on Ben White as well, tactical flexibility FC. But the thing on Ben White as well is, like, if he has been injured, we can expect a bit of a push forward now. If he's been injured for a while and he's fixed that problem, then hopefully we can see another level. Maybe. People saying Laurent, Sanya. People saying Tomiyasu. To be fair.
Tomiyasu,
like, just in isolation, like at that quality, like he is brilliant at that.
Tomiyasu's up there, but I think Timber's better 1v1.
Who's our worst 1v1 fullback since the Invincibles?
We've had some bad ones, you know. Give yours up there.
Callum Chambers.
Callum Chambers is up there. Give your 1v1 out wide.
I went to drama school with his sister. She was year below, yeah, and because I didn't want to make it awkward at any point, so and I knew, but I didn't want to say to her. But anyway, end of the final year, we were having drinks, and I would just turn to her. I was like, "Right, so your brother plays for Arsenal," and and it was great. But I did avoid the Jefferson Montero conversation.
My God, that game. And Bafétimbi Gomes would always score against us every single time. And he'd do that celebration as well, like that one where he's crawling. Oh, my God. Bad memories.
Yeah. Bafétimbi Gomes. Bafétimbi Gomes.
Do you remember the Bafétimbi Gomes winner at the Emirates, right? And Ospina's virtually in the goal. He saves it, but he's in the goal. And then he's complaining how it didn't go over the line. Oh, God.
Chat and you. I want the nichest footballer you can name. The nichest footballer you can name. Premier League footballer. The nichest Premier League footballer you could... like someone that no one will have heard of.
I wonder how many of the chat would know Amir Zaki.
Amir Zaki.
Come on, OGs will know. OGs will know that one. Amir Zaki.
Amir Zaki is an Egyptian former professional footballer who played as a striker for Wigan.
Yep.
Yeah, Wigan. It's like Wigan mid-2000s. You'll get some stuff. Kevin Lispy. That's a shout. That's a shout. Royston Drent was on SDS the other day.
Royston Drent.
Roque Santa Cruz, yeah, Blackburn, classic.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen that meme that's like, men can just sit around naming football players and have a great time. It's so true.
Honestly, I could go back like Two Guy. Remember Two Guy? Two Guy. Yeah,
the yak. The yak, that whole...
Feed the yak and he will score. Feed the yak.
Marian Pahars. This is
one.
Marian Pahars, who was a Latvian footballer who played for...
Giovanni. Do you remember that? you remember that screamer he scored against us? The 2-1 win. Hull got us against us. Giovanni.
Ricardo Fuller.
Yes.
Danny Shitu. I remember finding that hilarious. Yeah, Richard Dunn, classic. Who is that? Seyi Olofinjana. Seyi Olofinjana, Nigerian footballer, used to play for Hull. That is niche. That is niche. I think Bulgarian Gouda wins that.
Do you remember? What was his name?
He had 34 apps for Hull. Oh, and for Stoke back in the day.
I think I've got a niche one.
Fair play. Steve Finnan, Stelios.
What about
Ricker? I don't know who
that
is.
Mamadi Sidibe?
You can't look it up.
No, but I wanted to know if that was his name. Mamadi Sidibe?
Sidibe. Oh, I mean, there's been loads of Sidibes, isn't there?
Yeah, but you look at that's
Cinema upon goal. Mate, he wasn't a baller, but he was a footballer.
Oh god, I don't know that one.
Quincy Owusu-Abeyi, what a baller. Right, Rohan, it's time for a classic Cannonpod Live tier list.
I've been waiting.
What we're doing is we're looking at value for money of our current squad. Value for money. So the categories, as we said earlier, are crazy bargain, good value, decent value, overpay, and fleeced. And we have to look. I've also got the salaries here as well, according to Capology. So if I'm wrong, don't blame me. But I've also got the salaries. So if we want to talk about salaries, we can do that as well. I've obviously fee and salary coming into it. So
I don't think anyone will be in fleeced though. Will they?
Well, we'll see. Let's start with basically going on what they've done for the club, and obviously some of them haven't done very much because they've been here about 20 minutes. We could put Sterling in fleeced, maybe.
But have we been fleeced though? Really, we're only paying like 40% of his wage.
Why has it done that? Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Anyway. Some of these names are proper throwbacks on the chat. Oh god,
proper throwbacks. Right, Gabriel. Let's start with Gabriel. It's not a crazy bargain, but it's. I'm going to change that from good value to great value. I'm going to say Gabriel is great value.
Crazy bargain.
Crazy bargain.
Yes.
He was. How much was he? He was
27 million, I think. Absolutely crazy. What do you value Gabriel right now? What do you value him?
80 million.
Oh, he's more than that. He's more than that. He has to be in the top, surely.
Has anyone got a good a list where we can get where they were bought for reliably? It might be on Transfermarkt actually. I'm not against him being in crazy bargain, but I want crazy bargain to be like Martinelli is crazy bargain. Do you know what I mean? £27 million is it's a decent amount. And let me just I got it on Transfermarkt. All transfers. You're not having that?
Yeah. I think it's
Gabriel,
crazy.
26 million euros.
I think it's crazy bargain. Like, how many centre backs are better than him in the world?
Wage wise, he's on. Gabriel is on £100,000 a week according to Capology. So maybe with his wages, you could push it up. But I'll leave it there for now.
Cool.
Let's do Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney, we signed obviously in 1920. That was for 27 million euros from Celtic. Yeah. What are we saying for Kieran Tierney? Obviously, chat will come to you at the end and we'll do any challenges that you would like to do to move around.
I think he's been decent value for money.
I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
Wage-wise, Tierney is on £110,000 a week, which is probably a little bit high, but considering how important he was at one point,
I think with Tierney though, obviously the availability issues are there, have been throughout his tenure, but he had a massive part. Oh, you clocked on, didn't you? But he played a massive part in terms of the project where it was in that 2021 season and also in the 21-22 season. He had a lot of good performances there as well. So I think
I got decent value. I don't want to spend too long because otherwise we'll be here forever. Timber. So Timber we signed obviously in actually it'll be easy if we go through sort of chronologically. William Saliba, 30 million euros from Saint Etienne. In terms of his wages, William Saliba is on £190,000 a week, according to Capology. I think that is this is why I was resistant to putting Gabriel in crazy bargain, because I think that's crazy bargain.
I think both are there.
No, fair enough. But I mean, we can come to it at the end. But I'm happy to put Saliba in crazy bargain. That is an unbelievable deal for a player of his quality. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Gabriel Martinelli for €7 million.
It's a crazy bargain. That's a crazy bargain.
This is what I'm trying to say.
I see what you mean. I do see what you mean, but I think we have to also consider where they are relative to other players in the world as well, right? So, but
when I'm putting 7 million for Martinelli, who would probably go for 60-70 million, that's wasn't on crazy wages and still isn't. I don't think. Actually, what's he on? Martinelli's on 180 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy bargain.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Who was next? I'm trying to go through chronologically, but I might miss some. I'll come to Thomas Partey for 50 million euros from Atletico Madrid, and his wages are. Hang on, just give me a second. I'm just going to close this tab.
This is a tricky one.
Two tabs coming out. Thomas Partey is on £200,000 a week. I'm going to say decent value.
Yeah, I don't think it's overpay.
You could put it in overpay. You could.
I mean, when we look at his time at Arsenal, obviously his injury issues have been frustrating. But if you go through the last few seasons, Thomas Partey has had a massive part to where we are, and his performances. Like him and Granit Xhaka together were operating at a 90-plus point pace, and that was 30 games as well. Last season, obviously it was frustrating, but he had a couple of good games in the run-in for sure. He was building momentum. This season, he has had a good season, to be fair to him. I think it is decent value. I think decent value. I think overpay would be a little bit unfair.
I think maybe in the summer I would have said overpay, but because of his availability this season, I'm going to push him back into decent value. I would say.
Yeah. Great.
Then we moved. We've done Gabriel.
I love these games.
Next signing was the summer of Ben White, Ødegaard, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, and so on. So let's come to Martin Ødegaard, who was signed for €35 million and is currently on £240,000 a week.
It's like
great value for me.
Yeah, agree.
Great value, because 30 million on its own is and that you'd be looking at crazy bargain potentially, because that is unbelievable.
Potentially, I'm like hovering, but I can understand this one a bit more. Yeah.
But considering perhaps the issues he's having at the minute, considering he's one of the highest paid players at the club, it's good value. Sorry, it's not even good value. It's great value for what he brings us. But I think if that fee was,
for me, he's hovering. For me, he's hovering close to crazy bargain, like close.
Yeah,
like, for me personally, But I'd agree with great value. I would agree with great value.
Yeah. Tomiyasu was signed for, according to Transfermarkt, €18.6 million from Bologna, and he is currently on. Tomiyasu hasn't renewed his deal, has he?
He only renewed it recently, last season. I think his wages.
Did.
Yeah, his wages went up. But it was kind of like we rate you as a player, but we don't rate your availability type of contract.
He's on €100,000.
I think for me, it's great value, and I'll give my case if you want.
I disagree.
I'll tell you why, right? I know the injury issues, I know the availability issues, but if you look at Tomiyasu, bearing in mind it's a £16 million purchase. 16 million. 21-22 season, he had a good first half of the year. Then he picked up the injury, of course. 22-23, he had a massive part in some of the big games that we had. Played a big role. And last season, in the run-in, he played, I think, 8-9 games on the bounce, for 16 million. for 16 million, I think it's maybe not great value, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm questioning. Bro, he's missed.
Yeah, maybe not great.
He's missed 25 games this season.
Not great
more.
value, but chat, you need to chat. We have to realize it was 16 million, right? It was 16 million. It's such a low fee.
Since he arrived,
Yeah,
he missed 11 games his first season. He missed 20 games in 22-23. He missed 13 games in 23-24, and he's missed the whole season for 24-25. I can't put that in great value. I'm sorry.
No, I retract that, but I don't think it's a fleeced or overpay.
No, and because of the money we paid and the salary.
That's
but I think
that's what I'm looking at, the money. Like maybe I was.
For me, it's decent value. Benjamin White, Transfermarkt says 58.5 million euros. Benjamin White is currently on, in terms of his wages, £150,000 a week, according to Transfermarkt.
Great value.
Great value. I don't think he's threatening crazy bargain, but it's great value.
I think 50 million. I tell you what, though. I mean, in terms of his availability, right, and playing through injury, playing through the pain threshold, and with other players who are not able, like just mentioned Tobiasu, and Ben White's consistency as well. Very good first year at centre back. Great partnership with Gabriel, and then 2 successive years as the best performing right back from a consistency point of view. That deserves massive credit, and I think great value. Yeah. He can't be put any lower than that. I think people might put him lower than that because of the 50 million outlay, but he's
also a player that I look at the market and go, okay, who else is available and who's been bought for what prices? And I'm looking at the Fofanas and the Lenny Yoros and these guys, and I think when you consider how much money people have spent on centre backs and it's not worked out, and he's been able to adapt his game as well. Next, I think that's that from that summer, was Gabriel Jesus for 52.2 million from Man City, and he is on Gabriel Jesus is on £265,000 per week. I'm going to say overpay.
Agree.
I don't think it's fleeced. But overpay, for sure.
I think Gabriel Jesus, unfortunately, I think if he hadn't picked up that injury in the 2022 World Cup, his fortunes would have been different. But the sample size of games that he's missed and the lack of consistency post that is too much. And we're talking about a massive outlay and also big wages as well. I can't see it being any other than overpaid. Like people will say, oh, but he was a massive part in the evolution of Arsenal. I hear that, and we spoke about it with the Zinchenko comparison.
Yeah.
You have to have a bigger sample size. You have to. Like, the sample size is just not there outside of that.
Yeah. I think so.
Outside of that period. So, yeah.
Also that summer, we had Fabio Vieira, who I don't actually think is in this tier list, Vieira, so we'll have to move past him. But Zinchenko for 35 million euros from Man City. And he is on, in terms of his wages, he is on Zinchenko £150,000 a week. I think
decent value.
Decent value. He's not. It's not a bargain. It's not great value because I think you look at his, all in. You're. Yeah, I think you get what you pay for.
A solid signing in the art of the tenure. Solid signing.
Did his job. Team moved past him. You move forward.
Has its weaknesses. Although I have to say, the Emirates crowd, right? They're not overly keen on Zinchenko.
No, they don't like him.
They don't like him. Yeah, they don't like him. So.
No, they don't like him.
I think we should speak on Vieira, though. I think, no?
Well, he's not on the list, so we can't. Sorry, mate. It's our tier list work. Leandro Trossard. At some point we should, though, by the way, about a potential hole in this team that we don't need to solve if Fabio... Like, for me, if a Musiala isn't available this summer, you keep Vieira around. That's what I'd do. Leandro Trossard for 24 million euros from Brighton. Leandro Trossard is on £90,000 a week. Wow.
Great value.
Yeah, I think that's great value.
You can't overlook the productivity. Productivity is the driver in life, and it is the driver for attackers.
Don't cry, mate. It's the driver. Bye, driver. Bye, driver.
Anyway, oh my god, I'm losing my voice.
Anyway.
His productivity, he has hit the ground running from day one in terms of output, goals and assists, right? Like stylistically, he may not be your cup of tea, but you can't deny that. And what he's done, his impact, it's undeniable. Like I don't know how he cannot be in great value.
Well, he is.
Chat
Trossard,
might object.
Jakub Kivior from Spezia Calcio for 19.5 million euros.
You know my thoughts on this player.
To be fair, Kivior's on 58 grand a week.
It's overpay.
Overpay?
Yeah.
Decent value. I'm not saying he's like threatening great value, but he's decent value for me, Kivior.
Really?
We would get that back. He's on nothing in terms of his wages.
Okay, but I thought we're not looking.
We haven't had to use him.
Though.
If Gabriel had fallen over, we haven't had to use him. He's okay. I think and George has made this point. It's a good point. He's always available. He comes in. He does a job. He's not top quality, but we're paying him basically nothing. Maybe I would have wanted to pay 12 million, but it's not some crazy overpay. And I think with his wages combined, I think it's fine. I think we get it back if we sold him. So honestly, I'm okay with it. Decent value.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Jorginho from Chelsea for 12 million. Well, 11.3 million euros according to Transfermarkt, and Jorginho is on £110,000. For me, that's great value, even pushing potentially. Like I might put him further up on the list. I think we should do that thing where we order them as well. That's a really, really good
top value. Top value.
That's up here for me. It's really good.
How many you could list a wholesale of different of great performances Jorginho's had since he's came to the club. He's been a fantastic signing. Fantastic.
Just going to change these around. So the ones that are closest to the word are I think Martinelli is the craziest bargain in the squad in terms of the fee paid. So he would be number one, and Saliba second. So yeah, that's my list.
Yeah, we can order it.
Yeah, I think yeah, we can order it in a minute. Yeah, let's just finish these off. So let's finish these off fairly quickly. I mean, Saka obviously came from the academy, so I think we can
chuck him in crazy bargain, please.
Yeah, I think he's no. I was just thinking it through. I think he is a crazy bargain, even with the wages.
You don't need to think about that.
He's on no, but he's on 200 grand a week. We've got to think about the wages.
Right winger in the world, though.
But I think he's a crazy bargain. Jurrien Timber.
Well, are we considering sample size now? Because obviously this is his first season. But
Jurrien Timber for 40 million euros. I think it's.
Do you know what it is? The only caveat is the sample size. That's the only caveat right now, isn't it? Like, I
think he might go at the top of decent value for me.
Yeah, but that's one a case of just sample size, size, and that's his only drawback. So yeah,
if we're at the end of the season, he goes in great value for me.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Declan Rice for £105 million, and Declan Rice is on £240,000 a week.
Great value. I can't put him in decent. I can't.
It's decent value. It's a compliment, though. When you consider he's quite near the top of decent value. When you consider how much money you've just paid for that player, £105 million plus nearly £250,000 a week, and I'm saying that's good. Like, it's pretty good value, decent value. That's a compliment because there's basically no players who are worth that. So to me, that's I don't view that as a kind of a slander.
But we got him for half price.
Declan Rice. He's taking his trousers down.
I'd put him in great value, personally.
Yeah, well, what mate? I'm in charge. Calafiori is 45 million euros.
I think right now we have to put him in overpay because we've not seen him.
Yeah.
No, We
Yeah.
can't put him anywhere else. Like
right now, it is. Not to
I
say
think
that
I think you got to put Jesus ahead of him for now. You have to. No.
I like that no one's questioned me putting Raheem Sterling in fleeced. Whatever we paid for him. Neto. Fleeced. We're paying his wages.
yeah, exactly. Do you know what? Fleeced because he's not even played a game yet.
Crazy. Or you could say crazy bargain in terms of getting a backup keeper for nothing. I don't actually know how to rank him. So I'm just
It has to be fleeced. If you buy something from the supermarket and you don't use it, you've been fleeced.
That's a good point. That's a good point. David Raya, 31 million euros. That is great value for me.
Yeah, it's great.
We'll order that in a second, but that is great value. He might be further up for me, but that's great. It's not a crazy bargain because obviously he's on decent wages. I think he's on where is he? 100,000 pound a week. But yeah, I think he should maybe be rewarded a bit higher. But yeah, I think it's great value. It's really good value.
Yep, I agree.
Mikel Merino for 32 million euros.
I think we have to put him slightly in overpay right now.
He's at the. Oh,
no, I think you've got to put Jesus.
Wages?
I think you've got to put
What's
Jesus.
his wages? He's on 130 grand a week.
Oh, he's just not playing.
But he's
enough.
a 30 million pound midfielder. That's what he is. Like I don't think he's bad.
I don't think the sample size yet is enough for a 30 million pound player. Anyway, I don't think he's not played that much. He's played games. He's not played that much.
I think he's going to move. Let's just get everyone on the board. And Kai Havertz, obviously for 75 million euros or about 60 million. 65 million.
No, I've said many times. I think you've seen across Europe teams spending big money on players that haven't worked out. Kai Havertz has worked out in that sense, but his wages are really high. So,
for me, he's at the top of overpay.
I would move him to decent value at the end, but it's kind of like we're in the same sort of lines. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Okay. Right. We'll come to your challenges in just a second. So you're going to have a chance. Basically, if you put challenge, I'll just do something in the chat. Challenge, I think X should move to Y.
Just a quick one from Tez.
The reason.
Where's Jova?
Where's Nicholas? Mate, Nicholas Jova would go in if there's a category above crazy bargain.
Yeah, he'd go there.
He would go in that. So basically, I've just put the sort of the.
Thank you for YouTube.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Who's that from? From Tez. Thank you, Tez. I've just put the example in the chat. Just put challenge and tell us what, but we'll rank them first. So just give us a second. I'm happy with Martinelli first. Silly. Oh, am I?
No, you get Saka in there.
I'm putting Saka second.
I'd put Saka top.
Actually, yeah, Saka top. Saka top.
He's second best right winger in the world.
Free. World class.
Has to be there.
I'm happy with that order there. Great value.
I would move Gabriel to a crazy bargain. I would move him.
I wouldn't yet, but we can talk that through with the chat. I imagine that'll be decided. I'm okay with that order. I think maybe would I push David Raya up a little bit?
Yeah, I'd move David Raya. This is interesting.
Because Ben White's on decent money. Yeah, he's been great value, but he is on good money.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna move Jorginho down one. I think I'm okay with that.
Would you say
I'm okay with that?
Odegaard's been better value than Gabriel?
Just gonna zoom in a little bit.
I think Gabriel's got to be.
No, I don't think so. I think you're right. But it's not a crazy bargain.
I think it is when you consider
it's top of great value.
I think it is when you consider what he's done.
Are you happy with that? Otherwise, from great, we'll come back to it. Are you happy that?
Yeah, we can move it around. I think it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Decent value. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with that order.
Yeah.
I might. Could move Tommy down. Not sure. But I think I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Havertz top of overpay. Marino second.
Kivior. Oh yeah, it's just Kivior. And
Calafiori feels a little. I'm going to move him.
He's not
there.
played though, is he? Though,
but Jesus hasn't. He hasn't fleeced us, has he?
No, Jesus hasn't fleeced us. Oh no, Jesus has to be ahead of Calafiori if we're being objective, right?
Yeah, I think
Calafiori's
so.
not played. He's played like.
I think he's got to go ahead of Marino.
Yeah, I agree. The drawback with Calafiori and Marino, and likewise someone like Timber, is that, well, especially Calafiori and Marino, we need to see more of them. They haven't played. They barely played. So
okay, let's stick that there. Let's come to your challenges, and I'm only going to come to challenges where you give us a reason. Like if you just say challenge swap Rice and Timber, I don't know why. So so we'll come to all of your challenges. Joel Shaw says, challenge, Partey should be an overpay. Limited availability. When he was available in the run-in 2022-23, he cost us alongside Ramsdale, almost single-handedly increases our expected goals against.
But Partey has played a lot of football for Arsenal still, even with the availability issues. Got to remember, with Granit Xhaka and Partey, as a pair, they were operating at a 90-plus point pace. Thomas Partey's had also a very good season this year, to be fair to him, in midfield. Obviously,
I'd be okay to move him below Zinchenko, I think. I'd be okay to move him down a little bit, just because he's one of the high, like, Partey's on 200k.
Yeah, I could go with that for sure. I think
I'm okay to do that. I think Zinchenko probably overall cost to kind of impact for I think I'm okay with that, but I don't think I'll move him out personally.
Challenge from As126. Havertz should be decent value when you look at the striker market. Players like Højlund are 72 million. What he did in the running and the productivity he has had this season, he should be decent value. Do you know the thing with Havertz is the wages, isn't it? It's the wages that kind of like drive. If it was
even if he was on like a little bit less, it's the fact is he the highest paid player at the club?
He's the highest paid player at the club, yeah. So I think and I'm a massive Havertz. I'm a big Havertz fan, and I can see.
Yeah, he's the highest paid player at the club by 15k. Like I'm having him at top of overpay. Like he's not close to fleeced. He's close to decent value, but I can't for 75 million euros and the highest paid player at the club. Nah, not for me.
It's the wages. The wages is the driver there. Yeah.
Challenge. Jorginho should be in crazy bargain considering how much we pay for him, and he's done pretty well in terms of overall contribution to the team, both on and off the pitch, says After Party.
There is an argument there, but yeah, it's a fair shout, to be fair. It's fair.
I think in terms of how much he's been on the pitch.
Yeah.
If he'd played more, I'd be up for this, but I just think how many games has he's been
played a fair bit, hasn't he? He's played quite a bit.
Yeah. Alex Osborne, Rice to great value. In a market where CM/DMs are very pricey, we've got the best one out there in all likelihood because his contract situation, we underpaid for him by about 40 million.
Yeah, I agree. I really do agree. I think he's one of a kind in terms of what he offers right now.
The only place I could hear this argument is in sort of the wider context. But when I'm looking, because we're ranking within the context of Arsenal, and he's our highest transfer by about 25 million, and he's one of our highest paid players. I think maybe when all is said and done, I could say I find it very hard to put a player who costs.
I hear that
in great value.
Yeah,
when I haven't won a title, and I haven't won a Champions League, and I haven't, and he's also had his issues.
Yeah, and do you know what? You've put him at the top of decent value, and for £100 million outlay,
it's already a compliment.
It's
already a compliment.
Yeah. Why is there nothing on Kivior, chat?
We had one on Gabriel earlier.
Yeah, I think we should get to that.
Challenge. Calafiori decent value because it gave MLS a chance to break into the squad, which we wouldn't have seen. Oh, different take, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, but
that's like saying Pepe's a good signing because he forced us to look to the academy.
Yeah, I don't think we can go for this kind of like butterfly effect. That's not led to.
This is basically what I just can't put an 105 million.
I do hear that. Yeah. I do hear that. Yeah, I do hear that.
Nick Campbell, Big Gabby is a crazy bargain. Top 10 centre back in the world, valued at nearly 3 times the cost, highest scoring centre back. Do you know what the goal scoring point is good? Okay.
He has to be there. He has to be there.
He's at the bottom of crazy bargain, but I
can. Do you know what? I think Odegaard should be there as well.
Crazy bargain.
Yeah, I think there is some recency bias going on with Odegaard. I do think there is. I think the criticism is way over the top. Football fans are very fickle. He's so good. I know he's not going through the best times, but
it's definitely recency bias.
It's a lot of recency bias going on.
I'm looking at that top tier, and those are crazy bargains.
30 million for Odegaard, though. One of the highest goal-scoring campaigns from a midfielder in Premier League history. Fantastic last season.
I'm going to put it to a poll. I'm going to put it to a poll in the chat. I'm definitely. This is definitely recency bias, 100%. So I'm not denying that at all. But I also just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Right. Questions going in the chat now. Should Odegaard go in crazy bargain?
I reckon you'd put him in there.
What do you think the answer is going to be?
I think most of them will say yeah. I think 70% will say crazy bargain. Yeah.
Okay, polls in there now.
Yeah, I think we're doing our skipper a bit of an injustice here. I mean, great value is still a compliment, but I think
he's like teetering on the edge. Do you know what? You're almost exactly right. 72% of people say yes. But do I let the viewers persuade me, Rohan?
It is a democracy. We let the people.
I might do it because of a democratic point. 73%. Okay, I'll do it for the democratic point. I'll be real. There's a doubt in my mind.
You love Odegaard. I know you love Odegaard.
I want more from him.
I know. I hear that, but I think,
and that is recency bias. That is recency bias. But I've never wanted more from Saliba, Gabriel, or Saka. Yeah. I've never have.
I completely hear we need more from him. I completely hear it. But
it's very. And by the way, saying top of great value is still it's a really good deal. No one's. I'm not saying it isn't. Oh.
Do you know what? Actually,
it's gone down, mate. 69%. It's only 69%. 68% now. Guys, can we keep it on 69? No reason.
Do you know what? Jorginho is an interesting one. Nah, Jorginho, top of great value is good. Yeah, I think, yeah.
I think we've cooked here.
I think Kivior should go down.
Any others, chat? Any others? Is there any? Does anyone think? Okay, let me put it this way. Let's do how happy you are with that out of 10, and be serious. Don't just put 2 because there's 1 you don't like. If we're getting loads of 6s and 7s, maybe we should carry on. But if everyone's like 8, 9, 10, I'll be okay with that. Let me know.
I think we've got the players in the right categories. Apart from Rice, I think Rice is great value for me. But I understand the Rice one. I can make peace with where you put him.
Nick, you're here every week. You get dibs, mate. Tell me what you're not happy with, because we're getting a lot of 8s.
And Vlad's here all the time.
Vlad gets a shout. Boston 2 out of 10, bro. For what? Come on, this list isn't 2 out of 10.
No, it's not 2 out of 10. It's a solid list. There's a couple of questionable ones.
Lots of 8s and 9s, which I'm okay with.
The Timber one, Timber would be in great value. It's just we need a bigger sample size. I think sample size is so important. Like for example,
7 out of 10. Something just feels wrong.
I hear that. I do. Something doesn't feel right as well for me. But
okay, fair enough. 4 out of 10. Martinelli and Odegaard should be great value. Martinelli is not. Martinelli is £7 million.
Martinelli is one
of the all-time great Arsenal signings, let alone in this squad.
It's great. Yeah, it's crazy bargain. We can't put Martinelli. You have to consider how much. This is why I was trying to cook with the Tomiyasu thing, but then I realised I wasn't cooking anything. I was cooking out.
Cooking toast. Yeah.
Fucking out of date chicken. But yeah.
Vivlad says Rice to great value, otherwise it's a solid list. I can't put an £105 million player in great value. Love you, Vivlad, but no. Nick Campbell says I would rotate Rice and Timber just because Rice has a better sample and has played multiple positions. I still think Kai needs needs to go bottom of decent.
Kind of like
Top of overpay for me.
Top of overpay and decent at the bottom end of
We're
decent.
splitting hairs. We're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I'm going to screenshot that and put that on the internet for us all to get ridiculed for that.
Look at these two dweebs. They don't know ball. And yes, you're absolutely right.
Who said that?
That's what the comments on X will be.
I see. I think it was a classic episode of TCP Live tier list.
Yeah, and we've gone 6 minutes over time, but you were 7 minutes late, so we're doing pretty well.
Are you starting to shut down yet?
Oh yeah.
What will you do if the Cronkies don't make a signing? Do you know what we should do next time? Is a tier list of things we will do if we don't get a signing. Top of the list, jump off a bridge. Decent value. Chain myself to a bike rack. Bottom tier. Chop my dick off. I don't know.
Oh Lord. Well, I did say we weren't signing anyone at the start
At
of the
this
window.
stage in the window, kidney for Isak.
You're not doing it. This is all nonsense. It's all hypothetical.
This guy, chat, if you missed this,
doing it.
this guy would not give one of. Is it? Hang on, no, it's your kidney. You got two of those. It's not your liver. Your kidney.
Yeah, your kidney.
This guy wouldn't give his kidney for Isak. And also, this is the situation. Just remember this. He's saying he wouldn't give if everyone in the world. It was on BBC News. Rohan Jivan gave his kidney to sign Isak. He only needs one of them, and he wouldn't do it for Isak.
And then what happens if he picked up a massive injury? What happens if he picked up a massive injury?
Doesn't matter. You would be the fan. You would.
No, I'm now one kidneyless.
You'd get free drinks, which you wouldn't be able to process as well. You'd get free drinks at the Emirates forever because you were the guy.
This all hypotheticals. When the situation comes to you and someone slams on your door and says, Mr. Alexander Moneypenny, you give me your kidney and we'll sign Alexander Isak, you'll go,
I would do it. I would do it because I'm a real Arsenal fan.
You wouldn't.
And you're not. You're a fake. You're
anyone
a Leicester fan.
saying it in the chat wouldn't do it. It's just
you're a Leicester fan. You're a Leicester fan.
Oi, that's
two bits of copium before we finish.
Yeah.
One is that RB Leipzig, that's right, are closing in on a deal to sign a French top talent, Tidiam Gomis from Cayenne, who I know lots about. Elite ball striking. Elite between the lines. A fantastic turning radius, honestly. His turning radius
is exquisite cross from the half spaces.
Exquisite half space crossing. So that tells us basically I'm from Bournemouth. I should be a Bournemouth fan, and I would give up my kidney for Isak.
Would you give up your kidney for Semenyo?
Can I say something a little bit unpopular?
Would you give up your kidney for Semenyo?
Shut up. If someone said to me, you can become an Arsenal fan now and have the journey and be a Bournemouth fan from a child to 18 to when they got in the Premier League, and then you would become an Arsenal fan from 18 to now, I would do it in a heartbeat. To go through the leagues like that 4 times in Bournemouth as a kid and then change to Arsenal for the fun of the Arteta era, do it in a heartbeat.
Fake fan.
You wouldn't give a body part you don't need for the best striker in Europe.
I'm not changing my football club though. I'd stay on my football club forever.
And the final bit of copium. What say you to this, Rohan? What say you? Willian has arrived in London to meet with his agents and assess options, with more than 3 English clubs keen on signing him immediately. He's available as a free agent after leaving Olympiacos, ready for a new chapter.
Now, what
the title of this video is Dear Stan, do something.
Yeah, you just said do something. There's your something, Alexander. There's your something. What would you do? What would you do on Deadline Day? We bring Willian, and that's it. And that's it.
I think we'd have to do some kind of like stream at the stadium or something. We'd have to like meet up and have like an actual like conversation.
My head. Oh, God.
Yeah, my head would be.
Yeah, no.
What would you rather us? I would rather us on Anthony. Genuinely. Actually, would I?
No.
That's not true. That's a lie.
At least Willian's been cooking for Fulham. At least he's been cooking.
Chat will finish there with the fake Arsenal fan
and the Bournemouth fan that transitioned to Arsenal.
Okay, so wouldn't you, if you lived in Bournemouth, wouldn't you have rather been a Bournemouth fan till you're 18 to see the rise through the leagues to get to the Premier League? They're not going to win the Premier League, but to get through the leagues and then become an Arsenal fan, wouldn't you? Right, so you wouldn't give a body part you don't need for the best striker in Europe, but you don't understand that logic.
Arsenal is my football club, and that is how it have always been.
That is utter woke nonsense. Right, yeah, he's shutting down. It's getting late.
That's getting late. Yeah, we got things to
do.
When
you're out with the kids and one of them's getting tired. You can see them in the back of the car, like.
Yeah.
The point in the stream. Thank you for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Cannon Podcast. We are here every Thursday for a lovely little live. We're back with our instant reaction. We had a scouted out from Mbuemo and Barcola on the Cannon earlier on this week. Rohan's got a data pod coming up. What are you going to be talking about on the data pod?
We're going to be talking about Arsenal's attacking performance.
Boring. And what's that clip where they go, boring?
Oh, yeah, what is that?
Is it Farage?
Yeah, that's it. I think it is. The
problem with Farage and a lot of the guys like that is obviously I disagree with a lot of what they say, but he is quite funny. But he is quite funny. Like he's objectively comedically quite good. Yeah. Anyway, let's not get into that. Thanks everyone for being here. Yeah. Anything to plug, Rohan?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Lovely. Good stuff.
Have you got anything to plug, Alexander? Yeah, your new video. Your video.
Oh yeah, go and watch if you're finishing this stream. Go and watch Different Knock. Just put out quite a tactico-y video. Yeah, have we got any requests for the next thumbnail?
Oh, why am I this supposed 5'6" midget?
Yeah, can it be about how small Rohan is?
Can't believe someone spotted me on the St. Pancras.
Rohan is a child mascot. That would be funny. Although the ethics of photoshopping Rohan as a child could be strange. Anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks, Rohan.
Nice one.
Say it with a bit of gusto. We're leaving. Give us a nice one.
Nice one.
Jesus. Thanks for watching. And thanks for keeping Arsenal.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.